Trading Unlocked, and we're here with a Forex Friday analysis for you on November the 8th, and we're going to take a look and see how the Forex markets are shaping up here as the markets are coming to an end this week on a Friday morning in Chicago. So really quick, we're going to take a look at the disclaimer just to remind you that this webinar is for illustrative purposes only. And with that, we're going to go and jump on our live screen here and get to our workstation here. So we're at the Forex Trading Unlocked website, and we're here at the on the workstation page, which is in the menu. If you click on workstation, which we already have, you get the workstation, and we have step one. We have our economic calendar, so we don't have anything. Let's see where we're at here. So we have yet a number coming out for the British pound, but that's a minor number that's coming out later on yet today. Outside of that, there's really nothing left to look at today as far as numbers are concerned, and we're going to just jump and look at the markets. All right, so we're going to cancel out the volume. We don't need to have this on here. We'll get this off the chart. And then we have our news. So for the euro, nothing really to pay attention to. The only thing you really need to look at as far as the euro is concerned is seeing how this is banging new lows here. It's all offer right now. So that's pretty interesting for a start for that. So as far as a weekly basis, it's kind of interesting because let's see how the month ended. So for the month of October, there was a bounce in the euro, and it rallied all month pretty much into Halloween and settled nicely. And then it reversed gears right off the bat on Friday of last week into this Friday and has trended lower. So the overall trend for the euro-US dollar obviously has been bearish for quite some time now, going all the way back into, what is this? The high was back in, February of 2018. So that's almost 2 years ago. So is the trend going to continue? Well, the trend is your friend. However, I would key off of this low here on the monthly basis, because this October 1st low may be your bouncing point if this market is going to trend higher. So the reason you have to think about it in those terms is that overall the trend has been lower on a multi-year scale. However, if it did bottom perhaps here in 2017, or what is this? This is December of 2016 rather, where then it rallied up to here. This would be your first wave. So this could be the bottom of your corrective wave before we have a big run up in the euro versus the US dollar. Now, there is a case for this because there was, even though the dollar index has been rallying this week, and obviously there's been a sell-off in many of your major currency crosses, there is a good reason to believe that the dollar index is kind of topping right now. And it gave a nice sell signal on a monthly basis. So obviously today, this week, has been reversing that signal and going against that trend, especially over the past couple days. But we'll see. This could be just a profit-taking move before we have another wave higher for the euro-US dollar, meaning a lower wave for the dollar index. So the dollar index is key to see whether or not this is a bullish or bearish stance in the market overall, because we're talking on a long-term scale here. So with that, let's go back to our daily and see what we have here. So obviously on the daily we have the market, it is at offer. It's at $110.20. And now here's the thing you have to realize though, is that this high here, which failed to make a higher move high, was 111.75. So that means it's only $1.50 lower over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions going into last Friday. So this sell-off, if you really think about it, isn't really that big of a deal. It's only $1.50 for the euro-US dollar, which could have $1.50 range in a day. It's just that the euro-US dollar has been trading very tight as of late. So I'm not saying this is a bounce. This is a break to buy into. I would look for a signal before you do such a thing. I mean, right now we made a high here, we made a higher move low, then we made a lower move high, and now we've made a lower move low. So technically, we have the euro US dollar in a sell-off bearish posture right now. So it's definitely broken the trend, the short-term trend that it was set for the month of October. So we're going to put this little marker right here. So off of this low, this will be our pivot point at a buck 1072, which is only half a dollar above where we're trading at right now. That could be, it could flash back on up to that level today and reverse gears and make new highs for all we know. Probably not going to occur because it's making new lows as we speak right now. So I think right now definitely selling pressure prevails. So let's take a look at the GBP USD, which is also on that side of the pond. Now the pound has been kind of scary because these ranges have been very, very tight for the pound. And now it's pressing this low right here. And this is our kind of line in the sand as far as directional pivot, because we had made this high, we made this low, we made a lower move high, and now we're pressing new move lows. So that being said, we have the dollar index rally. We have the two major currencies out of Europe that are showing weakness. So now to check out, let's see what the US dollar CHF is doing, because the US dollar Swiss, and here we go, the US dollar is showing strength here as well. And this we have right here at this breakout pivot 2, which would be this previous high, which it's hovering right at right now, where it took it out yesterday, and now it's treading water right there. So this is kind of your breakout level, and we're hovering right below parity. But look at this, we are very close to parity, and even as bullish as things seem to look for the dollar, it's having trouble right here. And this, excuse me, gives me reason to believe that unless we can take out this high here, which would be the last major high for this rally that has been going on since the summertime, I think that right now we are in a digestive to lower trading bias for the US dollar Swiss, which would be indicative of having a weakness in the dollar index. So right now, even though we have this dollar index, which is pressing highs, and some of these other major European currency crosses that are falling down against the dollar right now, I think it's dollar strength play right now, not that these other currencies are showing weakness, even though they are weaker than the dollar, obviously, for other reasons. But as far as on an intraday basis, I think this is more of a dollar move that is going on. So to kind of see if we're in the right direction on this, let's go to, to the New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar, or US dollar rather. That was for another webinar. Okay, so we're pulling up the New Zealand dollar. Now here, this is doing the same thing. It's treading new lows. So all these markets, which are major crosses versus the dollar, are just hinging on a major directional pivot right now. It's kind of interesting how this is shaping up. So let's take a look and see what is going on with the Australian dollar. I would assume that this is doing the same thing right now. It was earlier, so we just don't want to make assumptions. And here we have, excuse me, the Australian dollar. Now this one, unlike the other ones, was trending a little bit stronger versus the dollar for a while. So it had made this newer high, and now it's making a higher, right now it's making a higher move low so far. So until it takes out this swing low right here, it's going to be tough to say that this market really is starting to turn. That being said, I think that you will see more Australian dollar strength, which would be indicative of a turning dollar. So if the dollar correction right now is, or excuse me, if the dollar rally is just a correction right now, then we're setting ourselves up for a buying opportunity in all these other currencies versus the dollar so far. And the Australian dollar is the one that is showing more likelihood that the trend is going to resume itself after this little digestive correction that these currencies are going in. So this lower swing low here at 68.08 would be, I would say, your bias for direction. Anything above that, you're going to probably see some buying pressure that will come in and help to lift the market back up to challenge this 68.85 pivot, and then also make new move highs. Obviously, this is going to take a couple weeks to manifest, but if this is a bull trend that's going to remain intact, then most likely you're not going to see this low get taken out, and you'll see a bounce somewhere in this range right here. Let me make a little clarity on that. So somewhere in here is where I would say you're going to see your bounce and hold above this pivot here, and then move up to a higher area up here. So obviously we'll have to see what happens over time. So US dollar JPY. All right, the US dollar JPY. Now here's an interesting thing. The dollar index has been going down for quite some time, and as a whole, the US dollar yen had been rallying. So while the other currencies had been rallying against the dollar, the yen had been going down against the dollar, except for this last week of trading where the dollar index has gained strength, and now the US dollar yen is still gaining strength. So it's really interesting how overall, these pivots in the US dollar yen, whenever the dollar gains strength, it really impacts the yen and gives it a boost. More so than when the dollar weakens, the yen does not sell off as much, or the US dollar yen does not sell off as much. So which means the bullish trend remains intact because the breaks are not as severe as the rallies, and it doesn't take as much to rally this particular currency cross versus the dollar. Which is a very interesting trade going on right now. So if the dollar if the dollar index is in a corrective rally right now and is about to turn, say next week, and then make newer move lows, we could possibly see the US dollar yen still continue to rally and get up to that 109.5 to 110 area, and that's not outside of the realm of possibility. So I mean, the trend is your friend right now. And the market had a really good chance of selling off. This was the one day here where this break was. This was when the dollar actually did have a sell-off that day. So it was interesting on this day. It actually really got pounded. And that was a day where all the currencies versus the dollar seemed to really, really get a boost. Excuse me. Fighting a little bit of a cold here. Okay, so we've gone over all these major ones. Now let's look at the US dollar Canada as well. So we'll take a look at this and look at this. The US dollar is strong, and the US dollar Canada is doing the same as well. So I think it's a dollar rally that's going on today. Now, is it going to be over for the Canada? I don't know. I wouldn't say that it would be, just because of what is going on here with a couple of the other major currencies. So I would say that this one is definitely riding that index wave in the short run. If we have another major sell, now here's the thing is, like, the dollar index was going down for the month of October, and for most of the month of October, so did the Canada. It had a divergence a little bit quicker than it did with the index and some of the other currencies where the dollar showed strength. So it's a little bit interesting how that is. But overall, even the US dollar Canada is in a bearish trend. So we might be seeing this. It might be the exhaustion of this corrective move, which would be about 50% of this move down here to begin with. So right now, and it made a higher move high today already, and now it's falling off of it. So I would say key off of this as it's making highs. I wouldn't be an aggressive buyer at this level. Not that I would necessarily be a bear. You want to have a signal, a reason to sell. But I think that you are coming into an area where, if once again the dollar index falls apart, this is a great selling area for the US dollar Canada. So let's look at the Euro US dollar once again. We're going to pull that one up. And see, this one is still banging the lows. So right now we have some of the major currencies that are not done. And this is going into the European close. So this may continue to break throughout the rest of the day. It's not news driven. I don't understand why this one is getting pounded so much. But then also, here's another thing to keep into perspective, folks. So today we have a high of 110.55, and we have a low of 110.17. So we're still less than a 40 pip range on the day. That's not that big of a deal, even though we're making new move lows 40 pips is nothing in this market. So I would say use caution with this break as well. If the dollar index is going to take a turn, once again, this might be a good buying area. Remember that even though we had a short-term sale because we took out this swing low, as a whole, this could be just a corrective move off of this big rally that we had over the month of October, and this could be another area to buy. It's very possible that this situation is happening right now, especially with how we have digestion right here at this level here, which we're coming into. This is a big support and area where you're going to have a lot of topping and bottoming and digestive area phase going on. So we may make these new lows today, and then come Sunday night into next Monday, we may start to trade sideways and bobble around this 110.20 area. Remember, here we have a low here, and look at all this sideways action going here. So we may see another period of this just as we head into the next week or so, just to kind of digest all this trading. Remember, we've had a lot of swinging going around here in the euro US dollar over the past month and a half. And overall, it has been in the big bear trend. Maybe this was the high of a correction, and now we're actually setting to make new lows. But I have a hard time believing that right now. I think you need some really bad news coming out of Europe for that to be the case. So let's see. Real quick, we're going to jump on our Twitch page and see if we have any questions from any of our viewers. We have no questions from any of our viewers whatsoever out there. Okay, so we're going to go back to our, oops, that's the wrong Forex Trading Unlocked page. That's our home page. Okay, so here we are once again. This is the workstation here on the www.forex-trading-unlocked.com website. At the top menu here, you can click on the workstation icon, and it will bring you right here. And you have your calendar, economic calendar, then you have your chart, and you can see our streams that we have. Our last stream, obviously this is live, so that's going right now. We have our Twitter feed as well as our cross rate index, so you can jump and see all the different crosses at a glance. And then we also have our stock twits feed as well.
So let's see, real quick, we're going to jump on
so
our
with
Twitch
that
page,
being said,
I
think we're done with our analysis for today, and we're going to jump over to this spot over here.
www.forex-trading-unlocked.
Oops, we can turn that off right now. Sorry about that. See, look at this. We got the stream going, and now it's talking a little bit in reverse there, a little bit in delay. Okay, so that being said, when we talked about a couple of high probable Japanese candlestick patterns, and there is a book that I wrote, and it's ironically called High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns. So we had the
streams that we have our last feed as well as
again,
our cross rates at a glance, and then we also have our stock twits feed as well. So let's see, real quick here.
We have a little delay. Isn't this interesting here? I have to jump on the stream. Sorry,
and it will index.
We have a feedback loop going on here. I don't know how that's happening, but it is. All right, so sorry about that. So anyhow, on Amazon.com, you can check out High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns. If you are a Kindle reader, you can just read it whenever you want at your leisure. You don't have to purchase the book. It's available to, there's the Kindle Unlimited plan that many people belong to, and it's available for you to read it there and check it out. Or you can purchase the Kindle version or the paperback version, and you can read the book and you learn how to utilize the best buy and sell patterns used for over 400 years. If you look on the monthly basis of the dollar index, we have a bearish engulfing line that is formed, and that is a pattern that works very well. And if it is violated, if it fails, then we know how much of momentum there is in that counter or the original trend. So learn all about it in the book. And I want to thank you for your time. You have a good day, and we'll probably check out the Forex markets this evening when they close and have a little idea, take a little peek at the analysis or the market and do an analysis to see how the next week is going to shape up.